This is parallel lines and transversal angle relationships. So this is part 2 essentially of the notes that we just completed on page 8. We're on page 8 of our interactive notebooks here. So at building on angle pairs, the first thing you want to do when you're when you see this kind of a picture is to make sure that the lines that look parallel are parallel. And so the way that we do that is we notice these symbols here. It might be 2 little arrows on each line, or it might be 1 arrow, but that is the symbol, that's the math symbol to let us know for sure the lines are parallel. Then we can apply the angle relationships that we had just talked about. So make sure they're parallel, then identify the relationship. We have here a linear pair, and we know that when we have a linear pair, they are supplementary. Do you need to write this down every time? On this worksheet, yes. But moving forward, it's okay if you don't write that down, but don't skip the thought process. That's when you're going to write the wrong equation, you're going to do all the algebra, and then you're going to get an answer, and it won't be right because you didn't identify the right relationship, so you didn't set up the right equation. Does anybody know what equation goes along with supplementary in this case? So it's going to be, it equals 180. Nice job. So that just means we're going to add these two together. So 18x minus 2 plus 28x minus 2 equals 180. And from here, I'm set up to solve. Notice the instructions here just say solve for x. So we start by simplifying 18x and 28x. Audience participation time. What's 18 and 28? What is it? Yes, good. So 46x, and then we have the minus 2 and the minus 2, so it'll be a minus 4. Next step, aiming to get the variable by itself, we'll add 4 to both sides. So we have 46x equals 184. And lastly, divide both sides by 46. So x equals 4. All right. So I think you get the idea there. We'll just make sure and name the relationship here, and then I'll do number 3 as a second example. So the relationship for number 2, so we have these 2 angles that we're talking about, and if you look in your notes, what is it? That's correct. Nice job. Alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior. And therefore, they have what relationship? Congruent. Corresponding is another name of a pair. So they're either, the relationship is either congruent or supplementary, and these are congruent, which means they are equal. The measures of these 2 angles are equal. I'm not going to solve this right now, so we'll push pause on this one and move on to number 3, because number 3, nope, not number 3, sorry. We'll jump ahead to question number 7. Because this is a new set of directions. It says find the measure of the angle. So now we look at these 2 angles, and what is the relationship between these 2 angles? Who knows it? Morgan? They are corresponding. Good job. I am. Yeah. The microphone's right here. It's for our students that aren't here. So with corresponding angles, what is the relationship with corresponding angles? That's right, congruent. So that means their measures are equal. So I'll set up my equation. 11x minus 2 equals 9x plus 12. I'll go ahead and solve this one. This one has variables on both sides, so we collect the variables on one side. Either side works. I typically try and make it work so that the x's are positive. That's why I subtracted the 9 from 11 rather than the 11 from the 9. But either one will work. Add 2 to both sides. 2x equals 14. Divide by 2. Running out of room. So x equals 7. And it says I need to find the measure of the angle that is in bold. It's a little hard to tell, but it's this angle at the top that's a little more bold than the one below it. So we'll plug in the 7. Now, of course, if they're congruent, it doesn't really matter. But it's when they're supplementary that it matters more. So then the measure of the angle would be 77 minus 2, or 75 degrees. So our final answer here is 75 degrees. Bless you. Sorry to interrupt. Okay. So we will press pause here, and we'll come back to one of these more. These last two are the challenging ones. We've got more going on. And those are the ones you're more likely to see on your end of course assessment or one of those high stakes kind of assessments. Morgan?
How do you know which equation to plug it in? Do you just pick one?
Okay. So do you see how this one's a little bit more bold than this one? It's hard to tell. But on this next one, it's the lower one that's a little bit more bold, so you'll plug it into that one.